Hello, hello. It's Debbie Gilbert from the Best Business Women Awards, and today I'm joined by Sophie Milliken from SRS, and she's not only been a winner but has been a finalist as well. So she was a finalist in 2017 for Best Recruitment. She was a finalist in 2018 for Best Recruitment and Best Business, which is a very difficult category to get shortlisted for. And not deterred and full of determination, she came back again and won the Best Recruitment in 2019. So welcome, Sophie.
Hello.
And I think you've got your award sitting there with you.
I have, yeah. So
fabulous.
Yeah, nice and sturdy. I like
Great
this one.
to see. And actually, before we go on to talk about your business and stuff, you recently did a TEDx talk, didn't you?
I did, yes. So you can find that if you search my name, or it's actually called The Truth Behind the Show Reel. And yeah, that kind of came off the back of some of the award success of last year, and was really interesting to go and do that. It was probably the most scary thing I think I've probably ever done. I can't tell you how nervous and sick I felt on the lead up to that. It was frightening. But as part of my talk, which is called The Truth Behind the Show Reel, I actually wore the dress that I wore to collect this award and took the award with me. And if you watch the video, you'll hear the cheers when I come on in my gold dress.
It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see that, and I loved watching it. So yeah, we'll actually add the link when we do some social media posts on it. We'll add the link for people to find it. But if they Google your name in YouTube, it will come up.
Yeah, it will.
So Sophie, tell us about your business, what you do, and tell us about what made you start that business.
Okay, so I was, after university, joined John Lewis on their graduate program, went through a load of roles within John Lewis, ended up down in London at the head office, a couple of different roles there, and then kind of fell into graduate recruitment. I managed the graduate recruitment team for the business for 5 years down there. Absolutely loved it. Just kind of fell into that role, fell into graduate recruitment. But it was really interesting. I enjoyed doing a lot of external networking with other employers. I loved doing all the stuff on campus, and really fell in love with graduate recruitment. And then in 2013, it was probably the first of what has now been a number of restructures within John Lewis. And my role was changing a lot, and it was moving from being based in Victoria in London out to Bracknell. Mm-hmm. Now, by this point, I'd moved back to Newcastle, having lived in London for a while, moved back to Newcastle. I had a new baby, she's now 8, so not so much of a baby, but at that point, new baby, I'd just gone back to work. I was commuting between Newcastle and London once a week. It wasn't every day, but once a week. And that was already pretty challenging. So to then change to a role that wasn't hugely exciting for me, it wasn't quite the same, and to be based in Bracknell, which was a more challenging journey, I just thought it was the right time to move on, and I'm glad I did. The timing of it worked out really well. It was the right time to go, and I've got fond memories of that business, and it gave me a great grounding and a great network to set up the business. So I set up the business with a business partner back in 2013. He left a few years back now, but in those early days we were working together. And it's a graduate recruitment and employability consultancy. So we offer services to employers and universities. So for employers such as Marks and Spencer, AXA, people like that, we've designed their assessment materials, and we also can support them with the outsourcing. And then on the university side, we work with universities to embed employability within their curriculum. And we do this most famously through large-scale assessment centre simulations that we run in football stadiums up and down the country. So we put up to 500 students through a day. They'll come along, complete an assessment centre, assessed by our professional team of assessors, get feedback on each element, and then this helps them when they're going for the real thing with employers. And we've recently pivoted that to offer that service online, which is something we've been working on for a while, because we've been using technology for coming up to a year now anyway. So we've been able to convert that to an online experience, which reflects what employers are doing right now. So
what sort of challenges have you overcome in the last few years?
Well, I guess probably the biggest one in the last few years was my business partner leaving. So at the point where he decided to go, I was kind of like, oh, panic, having had the comfort of working together for those early years. But actually the timing was great. It was time for him to move on. I think I probably had like maybe a day of panic, like, oh, how am I going to do this on my own? Panic. But actually, I overcame that really quickly, a lot more quickly than I was expecting. And, you know, I've always had a great network around me. I've recruited some really fantastic people. So I've got a brilliant team. We've got a great office that I'm missing at the moment, but we've got a great office in the city centre in Newcastle that's in a great location. And, you know, we get to go out and about doing all sorts of wonderful things. So, yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, but that was a challenge. And, you know, there's always challenges when you run a business, isn't there? There's always challenges. I mean, we merged the business in autumn of last year with a bigger group. So we now sit underneath a group. And that's been interesting, kind of working with other companies. It gives us more of a reach because we've now got an office in London and also one in Manchester that we have access to. So that's been really interesting to work out how we integrate all the different brands. And that's given me an additional role in addition to being MD of SRS. So I've got a Chief Strategy Officer role across each of the brands. So that's been interesting just to kind of get to grips with that and learn about different businesses. But it's all fun. I always embrace every opportunity, get stuck in, and that's what makes me tick. I like the variety.
So going back to when you very first entered the awards in 2017, were awards part of your marketing strategy? What made you decide to think about entering awards?
Yeah, so I would say that they have always been part of our marketing strategy. So some awards we get nominated for, some we put ourselves forward for, and I've got one member of my team that's one of her responsibilities right now. So yeah, I guess I've learned over the years what works in awards submissions, and actually the reality of it, to have some achievements. You can't do it too early on in your journey because you've got nothing to showcase at that point. So you might have loads of ambition and determination, and that's brilliant, but actually you need some results behind that as well. So I think that sort of the point where we started entering more things, we did have a bit more of a backstory. We had the office established, we had team members, we had some financials that were starting to look pretty solid. So you've got to have all of those things to be able to demonstrate why you should win the award. But one of the things that I did in 2017, that was probably the peak year when I started applying for things. And I did get shortlisted for quite a few things, but I don't think we won anything that year. Maybe we won one thing, but it certainly wasn't. We certainly weren't prolific with awards that year. But one thing that I did that I thought has been really useful for our success since then has been to ask for feedback, because if you're a finalist, then it's likely that you will get some sort of feedback if you ask for it. And that's what I did. And then I was able to respond to the feedback. So that has then been really helpful in terms of being able to strengthen the applications.
You also included, I think, from memory, some really good statistics about your candidate feedback as well, I think, which I think is very useful to share. And you had some very strong testimonials from some of the universities that you worked with. I think reinforcing what you do and how well you do it. And I think that's really important, and it's something that a lot of people miss out, because that's the thing that really strengthens what you do and how you do it. So then you went on to obviously win our award last year, and I think, you know, to keep re-entering shows a lot of tenacity on your part. So when you didn't win, it obviously didn't make you think, oh, you know, I'm just going to throw in the towel and not bother. Did it make you think, right, I'm going to carry on pushing forward with my business and I'm just going to carry on entering again? Was that your mindset?
I think that I often get told that I've got a lot of grit and determination. I think maybe that's evidence of it. I think that probably there was an element of, you know, I've got somewhere with it, let's try again, because I think don't be put off. And sometimes people, they fail at one thing and then that puts them off forever. And I always think, no, you don't. You've got to get back on and try again. So I think that was one part, but I think also the business just really, really took off, and we've had, we've won some massive contracts. So I knew that perhaps some of the gaps that might have been apparent sort of earlier on, I knew that I'd been filling those in, and I was really into my own development the last couple of years, so that's developed my confidence. I wrote a book last year, so I knew that would add some value to the award submission.
What's the book called?
So the book is called From Learner to Earner, and it's a book for students and graduates to help them get their first graduate job. So I knew that would add value, which I'm sure it did. So it was all of those sorts of things that added together made sense to keep going, and it paid off.
So you not only won our award last year, what else did you win?
My God, what didn't I win? It sounds a bit cocky, but it was it was mental. So you might remember from my TEDx talk that I said that a friend of mine called me the Ant and Dec of business awards last year, because I just kept winning everything. I mean, it got to the point where towards the end of the year I was starting to feel a bit sheepish about it, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to go to these awards, but it was amazing. I mean, it was amazing. It was such a good feeling, if you could bottle that and bring it out when you need it, it'd be brilliant. But so I won the Female Entrepreneur of the Year award with the Forward Ladies National Award. So I won that at the regional final, and then I had to go through quite a scary judging panel day with all the other regional finalists, and then there was a national award, and I won that one as well. So that was brilliant. So I won that. I also won, so we have the Women in the Network in the Northeast Network Awards in the Northeast, and they're really high profile within our region. They get quite a lot of press coverage and lots of social media interaction as well. And I had been shortlisted for 3 categories. So there was one that was around innovation, there was small business, and then they have like a flagship award for entrepreneurship, which is like the big one, if you like. And I've been shortlisted for the 3 of those, and then I went to the awards ceremony and I won the small business one quite early on in the night. And then I was celebrating with my friends because I've never seen anyone ever win 2. So I just assumed, right, that's it, that's me done, brilliant, won that, having a great time with my friends. Then I won the big one.
Wow.
I had to go up on stage, give a speech, completely smashed at this point, to be honest, because it was quite late on in the night. I was like, oh my God, it was being live streamed to Facebook. And luckily I did get away with it just about. I think it was a point where I kind of lost my train of thought and managed to pull it back. But yeah, that was mad. And their awards are on hold at the moment for this year, but the tradition is that the person that wins that award gives a speech before sort of handing it over almost for the next year. But that was brilliant. So yeah, it just felt like literally, I was going to these awards all the time and sort of winning things, but it was brilliant. And it, I think some women suffer from imposter syndrome. I think we all do, actually, if I'm being totally honest. And you feel a bit kind of like, put yourself out there. Is that the right thing? Is it a bit arrogant? Is it, should I be doing that? And I think that for me, it was recognition of a huge amount of work over the last few years in particular. It was recognition not only of me, but actually the stuff that the team had done as well. It was brilliant. And, I think everyone should go for it and not feel shy and just go for it.
Yeah, because I'm not a massive fan of the voting awards. I think that if you enter awards that are judged by a judging panel, referring back to what you just said, it's a real validation of your work and what you've achieved, and that it's been independently looked at by somebody else, and I think that carries a lot of weight. I mean, what's the impact been on winning these awards now for you, for your business?
Well, I mean, it's certainly led to lots of exposure. So I've had, a few articles that have been in the press and things that have mentioned it, which has been fantastic. Whenever I've been shortlisted and or won awards, I always do a LinkedIn post about it. And they tend to be, especially if it's, me sort of stood there with it, they get so many hits, I get so many views. So I think the one which I did on the train on the way back up to Newcastle after attending the Best Businesswomen Awards, I think that got something like 50,000 views on it, on one post. It's incredible. And you're getting sort of random strangers commenting that, well done, oh, that's amazing, congratulations, likes from sort of third degree connections. So that's been fantastic. The fact that I can list the awards on our website, on our email signatures, on LinkedIn and things like that, you know, it gives credibility, it's recognition, it's credibility that can maybe help potential clients sort of validate their choice in using you. It's nice for them to see that you're award winning. Whenever I see clients, they always mention it. Oh, I saw you won that award. Oh, well done. That's brilliant. I'm really pleased for you, and things like that. So
you mention it in a pitch. If you were doing a pitch, would you mention awards?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd have it. So if I had a slide deck, I'd have all the awards along the bottom. I mean, in our proposals, we list all our awards on one of the introduction pages. So yeah, it definitely adds weight. You know, if you're looking at working with a company, are you going to go with someone that's got no external validation, or are you going to go, oh my gosh, they've won a load of awards? Well, you will go with that. So I think that's been great. And then because I won so many last season, that off the back of that was when I got asked to do the TEDx talk. So a lot of people have to apply. Most people, I think, apply to do a TEDx talk, and I've got friends that have applied and not been successful and kind of gone and reapplied time and time again. It's always been on my list of things that I've wanted to do, but I've put it off because I don't find public speaking natural to me. I don't particularly enjoy it. I enjoy it afterwards, but I always get so nervous, like so unbelievably nervous, that I don't put myself forward for these things. So it's kind of on my radar to do at some point. And then I got approached, and that was off the back of my profile being pretty high at that point. And I thought, I have to say yes. Who can turn that down? And you know, I'm so glad I did it. Much as I felt sick for months and I felt sick going onto the stage, I'm so glad I did it. And I'll let you into a secret that not everyone knows yet, is that off the back of the TED Talk and the fact that we've been in a period of lockdown at the time of recording this, I've actually been writing my next book.
Oh,
so yeah, so it was going to be linked to the TEDx talk, and then it's kind of grown arms and legs since. And it's going to be a book, I think it's going to be called the Ambition Accelerator, and it's going to be aimed at young women who, whether they're going through a corporate career path or whether they're looking to be an entrepreneur, and it's to inspire and encourage them to just go for it and be really bold with their ambition. And so that's all, you know, fallen into this crazy journey, and off the back of the fact that my profile has increased, I've been able to attract some quite high profile women to be in it. So I'm not going to give away any of the names yet because they're booked into the interview, but I haven't done it yet. So until I've done that, but one of them you will recognise for being on a very high profile BBC Two programme about entrepreneurs who pitch. So
amazing.
Have a guess who that might be, but until I've done it, I daren't announce that publicly.
No. Yeah, you're probably better off just to keep that under wraps anyway. I did notice that you'd connected up with some of the other winners from the awards.
Oh, yes. So that's been so good. So you did that fantastic winners drinks thing in London, and it just so happened that I was in London that night, so it was brilliant that I could attend, and I got chatting to Aisha from Manchester, who won the Best Businesswoman in Legal Services. And it was just one of those conversations where you just absolutely hit it off with someone. And we hadn't met on the night of the awards. So, and again, she happened to be in London and it fit her schedule. And we just had the best chat ever. It was so good. And then we've stayed in touch after that. And then we actually met up for lunch in Manchester a couple of months ago.
Amazing.
And she, you know, I'm hopeful that you'll interview her at some point because her profile's gone through the roof because she's been on the BBC doing her programme. And yeah, just one of those people that's just got loads of energy and enthusiasm that just completely hit it off with. And yeah, she's great. I absolutely love her. I can completely see why she won, and she's had a good run of things with awards as well.
She won another one after us as well. I can't remember, it was one of the Law Awards.
Yes.
I think what strings you all together, there is a commonality, even though you're all in different industries. But having done the awards now, we're sort of in the 6th year now. Over the last 5 years, meeting with all of you, you know, I think there's 78 of you in the Winners Club. You all have that absolute gut determination and tenacity to keep pushing forward, and I think that's the common characteristic that you all share. And it's just lovely because I think, you know, we don't get anywhere by sitting around hoping for it to happen. We have to make things happen. And it's great that you're doing something to inspire younger women, because a lot of younger women need those role models they may not have at home, or they may not have found at school. So I think people like you are great examples for the younger generation, and to inspire them to go do the job of their dreams, or the business of their dreams. So if someone's sitting here watching the video, not very sure about it, and like you alluded to earlier, we can feel like we're blowing our own trumpet sometimes, but what would your advice be to anyone thinking of entering, not just our awards, but any awards?
I think absolutely what you've just said. Go for it. You know, you've got to be in it to win it. It's like those people that say, you know, I never win anything. Okay, so what competitions or what things have you put yourself forward for? Oh, nothing. Right. Well, you're never going to win, are you? So I hear that a lot. You've got to go for it. And even if you're not successful, if you can, try and get the feedback, and, you know, try again. Look at what you need to work on. But absolutely, I mean, I'm a huge fan of taking every opportunity. I talk about that a lot whenever I speak at any event, and you've just got to do that. And awards, you know, particularly for business owners, it's got to be a key part of your marketing strategy, because it leads to so many other things, and it creates content for lots of things. It gives you exposure, profile, validation, recognition, all of those wonderful things. And I think you'd be mad not to try.
Do you have like a process of looking at what awards that you want to enter, and what awards attract you? I mean, what are the things that you look for when you're entering an award?
Yeah, so I've delegated that to one of my team now, but my direction is that it has to be relevant to what we do. So I feel like because I've won so many for me as a businesswoman now, I kind of feel like I've kind of done that, and actually I'd rather try and maybe help other people that have put themselves forward for awards. So I feel like I've kind of ticked that box. So we're now more looking at industry awards, but also a big part of our strategy is actually to get recognition for our clients. So where we can enter awards on behalf of them, where really, you know, they're winning it, but, you know, they're associated with us and we've helped them, and it's the projects we've worked on together. So that's kind of me taking it to the next level, I guess.
I think though you should. I got a little bit like that when I'd won a few, and then thought, oh, I'll leave it, and then I didn't enter anything for about 3 or 4 years, and then back in 2018 I entered the SME Hertfordshire Awards, which we won it, and we then qualified for the Nationals, which we then won the Nationals. Oh, wow. And in a year where I'd had the major accident, and, you know, it kind of ended the year really well, you know, so I think sometimes taking a break from it and doing other things and coming back to it. But I think you're a great example, and, you know, it's been a pleasure to interview you today and to talk about your journey. And I think anybody watching this could not be not inspired by everything that you've said. So, you know, thank you for joining me, and I hope lockdown continues to, let's keep our fingers crossed, continues to move more towards getting things back to normal. But it's great that you've been able to move your business online, and you're doing some of the stuff that and it might be for you that actually long term that might work better than having large scale events in stadiums. I don't know. Well, time will tell.
Yeah, and the fact that we can do both is just another string to our bow. So
it is, and you could take this globally.
Absolutely.
Good luck with the book.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Debbie.